And what also inspired me was I noticed that Ibogaine. Guys have heard of that molecule, Ibogaine?
Yes.
So Ibogaine I've used many times. Ibogaine is very interesting. It inhibits opiate withdrawal in people. Now I always wondered, how does it do that? I've tried it myself. I've noticed after you use Ibogaine, for example, if you smoke cigarettes, you'll be much less likely to want to smoke them. Dopaminergic things are less attractive. You're less likely to cheat on your food. So that was interesting. And then I really looked at all of the papers on Ibogaine, and I found some interesting papers from 2017 or so showing that Ibogaine potently upregulated growth factors in the brain, like brain-derived neurotrophic factor, same factor that SSRIs upregulate, for a period of weeks after a flood dose, but only after a flood dose.
So that's why that
microdoses.
Do you mean a flood dose, meaning a heavy dose of Ibogaine?
Yeah, they call it a flood dose within the Ibogaine world. So some people use lower doses. A flood dose, something like 800 milligrams to 1,200 milligrams. Very dangerous because it's cardiotoxic. So that's the problem. It's cardiotoxic, but it seems to inhibit withdrawals for people who use opiates. So I saw this neurogenesis aspect, and I wondered if there was something that could increase neurogenesis really potently. Would it also inhibit opiate withdrawals? And I've always been looking for neurogenic compounds. I came across cerebrolysine, tried it myself, and I noticed it was the most potent activator of growth factors in the brain that I've ever tried in my life. So using it for 5 days in a row, you get to a point that it takes about 6 to 7 months with an SSRI. So it's very potent, very quick, and you can notice these effects. Surprisingly, once I started using it myself, and some people following the channel did, some opiate addicts used it and totally inhibited their withdrawals also, without harming their heart, like Ibogaine does. So that was one of the ways I got into it. I just really used it experimentally. Sometimes I want to learn about things, not necessarily to help myself, but just generally,
And with Ibogaine, like, did that make you like sick? And like, I mean, my brother had like a weird experience with it, but he liked it, but it also like made him throw up a bunch and things like that.
Cerebrolysine or Ibogaine?
Ibogaine.
Oh, Ibogaine is a horrific experience the first 2 days. My God, that's one of the other reasons not to use it, because it's psychedelic, but it's so potent of an activator of so many neurotransmitter systems in your brain that when you take it, you can't do anything but lay in bed and sort of like you live within yourself. You have these weird, you see things, but they're not even clear to understand. Like one of my experiences was, a lot of people experience this, seeing their own death. Really freaky kind of, and it's not a valuable experience. It's not like when you use a mushroom or LSD or something. This is like, you can't really tell what's happening. You lay in bed for a couple of days, you feel very weird, and then the neurogenesis hits you, just like if you use cerebrolysine for a couple of weeks or something like that.
That's interesting, because the way Chris Bell explained Ibogaine to me, he's like, yeah, it scrubs old patterns. Like the phrase he used was like, scrubs old like habitual patterns that you have. I'm guessing that's kind of like what you were talking about there, and that's what cerebrolysine does, but in a shorter amount of time and a way less harsh experience.
Not a shorter amount of time, a little bit longer, but so the problem with Ibogaine is it potently raises heart rates. Like when you do the flood dose, you may be surprised to look at your Apple Watch and find your heart rate is 180 sitting down.
Oh, Jesus.
So that's the problem, is that some people have genetically predispositions toward short or long, what are called QT intervals. And that could make them, if they had that elevated heart rate for a couple of days in a row, get an arrhythmia. So that's the danger. That's why I only use it a couple of times at the flood dose, and I just use lighter doses to experiment with. Cerebrolysine doesn't have that effect, so it's a bit safer in that regard. But what Chris is describing, exactly how it feels when you have that huge boost in plasticity of your brain. You can go anywhere,
Hey guys, if you like this clip, go ahead and comment down below and let us know what you liked about it. All right, share this with a friend. Make sure to subscribe to the channel, and also we are on Reddit and Discord. All that's down below. All our sponsors and everyone that supports us down below there too, so you can get whatever you like from us. All right? Peace.